Om Namo Narayan. Dear friends and colleagues, in my last video, we discussed which planets are responsible for this global pandemic and which star or constellation has contributed significantly for spreading this disease. Now, there was a slide in last video which mentioned couple of dates. Among these dates, there was one date where I specifically mentioned that there would be a temporary slowdown of this disease, and that date is 20th May 2020, and that's the date when Rahu will leave the Ardra Nakshatra and he will move into the Mrigashira Nakshatra. And apart from that date, on 23rd September 2020, Rahu will completely move from Gemini into Taurus. So, these two dates are important. The reason why I mentioned these dates is those are the dates when we are going to see a slowdown in this particular pandemic. On 20th May 2020, there will be a temporary slowdown. But we need to remember that Jupiter and Saturn will go retrograde in between May and September 2020. If we take the dates, Saturn goes retrograde on 10th May 2020, that is next month, and he becomes direct only on 29th September 2020. Apart from this, Jupiter will go retrograde next month, that is on 14th May 2020, and both Saturn and Jupiter will enter into the sign of Capricorn again on 29th September 2020 and 20th November 2020. So, we have a lot of dates now. The date when Rahu will move into the Mrigashira Nakshatra, and that's when we will find a vaccine, or that's when we'll find a temporary cure for this disease. Please note this date. But there will be a second wave or third wave in some countries in between May and September 2020. And during this period, as I mentioned earlier, Jupiter and Saturn will go retrograde. So what does this mean? Basically, we need to remember that Jupiter is the Jiva Karaka. He represents the life force or prana in the body. So when Jupiter goes retrograde, that's the time when we need to be careful. Though the lockdown will be lifted, we need to be extra careful during this period when Jupiter will be retrograde. Apart from that, Saturn will go retrograde, which is a good sign. There were a couple of queries or comments where people have asked me if Sun's transit in the Ashwini Nakshatra, which represents the Deva Vaidya or the divine healers or doctors, Ashwini Devatas, there will be a vaccine or there will be a cure for this disease. But I did not agree with this particular transit or with this particular reading of the transit. For a pandemic of this size, this proportion, which is caused by Saturn, who has done the audit of all the 12 Rashis, and he's coming back into his own sign of Makara after a period of 30 years. There cannot be a quick or a short-term solution for this problem. So, though Sun and Mercury moved, or Sun moved into the sign of Ashwini, and Mercury will be moving soon into the sign of Aries, that will not give a solution to this problem. The only solution or a vaccine we can expect only when Rahu moved out of Ardra Nakshatra. Jai Srimanarayan.